In this video, we are going to dive into the brand new and updated pros and cons list for 2024 of living in Vero Beach. Now, this is going to be unlike any other thing you've seen, heard, or read, and I can guarantee you're going to walk away with a new idea or perspective that you might not have thought about when you're considering moving to Vero Beach. So, as much as my wife says I don't listen, I've gathered feedback from every different person you could think of, every different type of personality, whether it's clients, neighbors, families, friends, people that have lived outside the state, people that have lived inside the state. I've compiled this list into things that I hear frequently. So you'll get a list of things that, maybe I've mentioned before briefly in another video. I did make a general video about a year ago. I try to update a pros and cons list every year, and it gave you just general ideas of what Vero Beach is like. So, some things don't change, like the location, the climate, the insurance and taxes. When those things do change, I update this channel. So subscribe and like. But this list is going to give you a different perspective and different ideas as far as what it's like to live in Vero Beach. So let's just dive right into the video. The first on our list is going to be the resale homes. And before I go any further, I do want to say that this is a bullet point style list. You're going to decide if this is a pro or a con. I'm going to give you both perspectives, and then you just be the judge of, hey, this is something I can't see myself doing. I can't see myself moving here for this reason. And I'll give you the two perspectives and some of the stories that go along with it. So with the resale homes, I do want to say I had clients moving from up north and clients that were actually in the state of Florida that were moving to Vero Beach. They were looking in certain communities at certain price points, and you got to remember location plays a big factor, but the interior wasn't up to par. For example, I live in McCants Park, so I'm just going to use myself as an example. And I love the home. I love the location. The interior was not as up to par as, you would expect, but if you could get a good deal, you could get a good price, you don't mind putting that sweat equity into the home, it's honestly a good thing. So if you're an investor, this is a pro. If you want a brand new home in an established community, it's available, but that's going to come with a certain price point, and you just got to take that into consideration. Now, I walk all the way to Troy Moody Park, or the McCants Park area. It's really not far. Me and the wife constantly looking at different homes. They're built in the 70s and 80s. You could just tell it's that old Florida style home, different colors. The layout's a little weird, but it just works for the community, and people actually like that. So it depends if you want to be in an HOA, not in an HOA, and you have to know just what you're getting yourself into. Now, if you're an investor, perfect. But it is worth mentioning that sometimes you walk in a home and the exterior is beautiful, and they may still have carpet outside the bathtub. The countertops might be a Formica and not granite like you want. So you just have to know that in advance going into it, if you're looking to be in an established neighborhood that's a little bit more of that old Florida, old Vero Beach charm. And just to pause the video real quick, if you're looking to relocate to Vero Beach, please feel free to reach out. I'll let my information roll on the screen. We help people just like you make the transition as smooth as possible. So days, nights, weekends, my information's on the screen. But let's just get back to the video. Next on our list is going to be that Vero Beach is growing and they love their local business owners. So a con would be if you're a local, or maybe you've kind of driven through Vero Beach and you like that old Florida feel with the one blinking stoplight downtown. It's no longer like that. It's definitely grown. I've seen it grow over the years. So if you've kind of discovered Vero Beach and it's this hidden gem, it may not be like that for long. Some locals don't like that. Some people want to keep it quaint, quiet, and small. And Vero Beach is definitely going to keep that old Florida feel. That's why they really support local business owners. For example, there's a couple places that have just opened up, and you could see if you open up any Vero Beach Facebook page, the locals are supporting it. They love supporting local businesses. For example, there's a place called Tastios Donuts, and the line is ridiculous. They sell out. It's just, and people are happy that they sell out. You may get in line and get to the front and know that, oh man, maybe they don't have the things that I wanted, but everyone loves showing support. So if you're looking to move here and start a business, this is definitely a good spot. Just Vero doesn't want to keep that downtown, like major chains or anything like that. All local restaurants, shops, local business owners friendly. And I will say they are trying to bring more lively things to Vero Beach that's going to attract maybe a more family oriented, younger crowd, as well as kind of cater to the retirement community. So that's a good thing. For example, the Three Corners is coming. It's going to replace the old water treatment plant and power plant right before you cross the bridge. And it's going to have everything you could think of, from a waterfront village, hotels, restaurants, bars, shops. It's going to have a rowing team. It's going to be boating and fishing oriented. So they're bringing those things to Vero Beach, although it can take a little bit longer. And there are still plenty of other things to do that are already established and in the community. So if you've came by or visited, you definitely know about Ocean Drive. I've made a whole video covering some of the places that you could go and visit. You have Waldo's, you have Costa de Este, you have Hummington Park, which was rated the top family friendly beaches in Vero Beach. I think it made like the top 10 list. They've added a pavilion too to kind of cater to those hot summer days and those families that are just visiting for a little bit. So you have plenty of already established things, as well as they're trying to bring things to the community that'll actually kind of liven it up a little bit. Not to mention all the parades, festivals, Bark in the Park. They have plenty of activities kind of going on to keep the community really engaged with each other, which I think is phenomenal. You'll see us at Remax just all on the floats waving. We try to split our time between Sebastian and Vero. The parades are on the same day, so you might see us on one parade, see us in Sebastian at another, but they really try to keep that local tight-knit community feel, which is good, and it's also good for local business owners. So this is definitely a pro if you own a business, you're looking to move here and get a business. If you want Vero to be really small and not grow anymore, this is definitely a con. Again, this is depending where you're coming from. If you're coming from a major city and moving here, you're going to be kind of shocked when you say, "Oh, this is a major downtown." It's really not like that. But again, if you're a local or maybe someone who's driven past when it was a blinking stoplight, then that's just a con for you. Next on our list that kind of contradicts the previous one was Vero is pretty slow. So it's every aspect of that life, whether it's pulling permits, building, construction, the lifestyle. Vero is generally a little bit slower than most. It's a little bit more old school in some of the facts that the way you're pulling permits and all of that stuff. So just keep that in mind if you're looking to get into a new construction build. New construction builders are ranging from all the ones that I've talked to anywhere from 8 to 10 months. I always say just do a full year to be safe, have a backup plan, make sure that you have some place to go, whether you're selling your home somewhere else, you have a good rental lined up, short term, long term, just kind of know and work with it. It's not the builder's fault. Sometimes it just takes a little bit longer dealing with the area, the city, and you just have to know that when you're coming to Vero Beach. But I will say it is a pro when you're talking about the lifestyle as far as Vero Beach goes. Just know you might be stuck behind some slower drivers. Everyone has that relaxed, laid back feel. I think it's amazing, especially if you're coming here to raise a family or you're coming here to retire. It's nice to just slow down and have a different kind of pace of energy than you would feel. For example, I lived in Austin where it was just everything was go, 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 go. Here, it's a little bit more laid back. So, don't freak out if you're behind someone that's moving a little bit slower. We kind of enjoy that here in Vero Beach. Next on the list is going to be the location, and I won't harp on this too much because Vero Beach is centrally located. You could jump on 95, but that's definitely a pro as far as getting to the major cities. The nightlife here is nothing to write home about, but you can definitely still go out. You could stay out a little bit later in the city of Vero Beach if you're looking to have a party or anything like that. I think there is a curfew where there's some noise limits. So if you're exceeding certain decibels, it's like 10 o'clock's the cutoff. You kind of have to shut that off. But if you're respectful and have good neighbors, then you really won't have to worry about that too much. If you do want to get to that crazy nightlife, you could just drive up to Orlando, drive down to West Palm, Miami. But most people moving here aren't really looking to get into that fast pace. But it's nice that you could just kind of either jump north or jump south and you're there within an hour, hour and a half. Next on the list is going to be that Vero Beach is family friendly and it still has that small town feel. I say family friendly and small town. I know they said it's growing. I'm contradicting myself, but these are just actual stories that other clients have told me. You're moving down here and some people aren't used to walking around and getting waved at and small talk conversations. For example, we were walking to Troy Moody Park and the wife was talking to another lady. She happened to be pregnant too, so they kind of just got in a small conversation, moved here in the same time frame. And it's really, if you're coming from a major city, people don't have the time to talk to you. And I've experienced that in Austin. Here, you're constantly at the counter of the grocery store or having a small talk with someone just around the neighborhood, which I think that's a good thing. It builds that sense of community, it builds that kind of camaraderie, and everyone kind of looks out for each other. Now, I will say there are some cons to that as well, and I have some clients that could attest to that. They've called and told me some of the crazy stories. For example, it could be something as little as your neighbor and make friends with your neighbor, but maybe the neighbor doesn't like the way you're parking. They might call code enforcement. It definitely happens. So you have to take the friendliness with the other side of that, I should say. Not everyone's going to be all chipper, and Vero Beach isn't like that. Some people you might just catch them on a bad day. They might just be grumpy, but I've had stories where their neighbor has been called because of code enforcement, something minor. So people have a little bit of extra time on their hands, if you know what I mean. So if you're looking to avoid that, then maybe stay out of the HOAs and stuff and look for something not in an HOA, because that's another huge thing. So just kind of know that in advance and you'll pretty much be fine. But you should hear some of the stories that I've been told, and those are just a few that I could share. Even with that said, it is a close knit community. So whatever groups you're trying to get involved in, whether you want to join a running club, a pickleball club, they have tennis clubs, golf clubs, of course, but they have every different kind of community that you could kind of get involved in. And it definitely builds that sense of camaraderie. Next on the list is going to be the climate, and that doesn't change much, of course, like I mentioned earlier, but I do want to show you guys something, so hold on. Okay, so I wanted to bring you outside just to show you the climate. I know people talk about that all the time, so I'll be brief, but this is the Eureka palms. I by no chance have a green thumb. As you could tell, I've killed that cactus, so I actually moved it out here, but there's a pineapple plant growing. There's a mango tree in the front yard. I have coconut palms that produce coconuts. So you kind of find different hobbies when you're here, even when you say, the climate's beautiful. For example, I never really went surfboarding. You can see the little guy back there playing, but I never really went surfing. You could be surprised because I've lived here for so long, and I got involved in different groups, met some new friends, and I went out a couple times. So you tend to get involved in different hobbies when you're here, which I think is a good thing. Now, I think that's a pro just in general. It does come with the humid summers, but you just got to know that that's going to be a thing. Okay, so we're back inside, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the crime. Now, I have to be very careful with how I word these things and what I say, just because I have to avoid all steering in general. I can't say move here because it's the safest place on earth, nor would I want to do that. I'm just going to be honest and tell you the facts that I've pulled up, the news articles that I've read, and some things that I've kind of noted, just so you kind of have a good idea. Of course, you're going to do your own research, but as far as the national average goes, it's 31% safer. It was ranked number 116 out of 292, so it kind of falls in the middle. And of course, you're going to have two extremes. You're going to have the safest person, and then you're also going to have people that aren't as morally sound, I should say. So do your research. And I will say that I'm raising a family here. I think it's safe. I still see kids outside playing. I still see kids outside staying out of trouble, fishing, surfing, doing all of those things that you like to see kids do and kind of enjoy. But can kids get in trouble and do other things? Of course, that just kind of comes with living in this in society that we live in. So I will say there's extremes, and for example, there was a news article of a lady who was a little bit inebriated, was driving all over the golf course. I'll try to throw a video up if I could find it, or if they'll allow me, but you have that, and you could just kind of see that there's extremes. There's ladies driving on the golf course. There was actually a kid who brought a gun to school in Vero Beach High, and now they're installing metal detectors, and they have dogs and stuff now, which Vero was never really like that before, and you'll see it in the news article. I could link it down at the bottom that Vero was never known for that stuff. They're not expecting it, but they're taking every precaution after to know that I want to live in a safe environment for my family, my kids, all of that stuff. Vero Beach does offer plenty of other things, and there are some honorable mentions as far as pros and cons go. The culinary scene's expanding. You have places where you could grab any variety of food that you want, any type of drink. You could go along the beach, you could go more inland and still find great food, mom and pop shops. They have the chains, they have other things that you kind of go and explore. So if you found this video to be useful, I'm going to be doing a video tour of Vero Beach. So I'll be, kind of vlog styling, even though I don't really like recording in public, but you'll have a good idea, and I'll give you all that information. So if you want to know more about the Treasure Coast and what it's like to live in Vero Beach or anywhere along the Treasure Coast, subscribe to this channel because I'll be updating you frequently. And if you need help relocating to Vero Beach, please feel free to reach out. I'll let my information roll on the screen, days, nights, weekends, and I hope to see you guys here.